Hi, Tanj here. Welcome to Mindset Mastery Monday. It is Monday, the 27th of May. Can you believe how quick this year is going? Good morning, Kate Ashton. Can you hear and see me okay, my love? Diane. Hi, Diane. Great to have you here. Thanks for tuning in. Brooklyn's here. Lovely to be back. I flew in from New Zealand last night. Excuse me if I look distracted. I realized I've still got my email open and I just want to shut that down so we don't have dings going off. Perfectly. Excellent. Good morning to you if you're tuning in on Instagram, and good morning to you if you're watching here on Facebook. It's Mindset Mastery Monday. This is where I provide free peak performance coaching for you. Helen. Hey, Helen. Looking fantastic, might I say. Wow, what an amazing transformation you've been undertaking. Well done, sister. Proud of you. Will you teach me love? Will I teach you love? I don't know. I can. Maybe. Tell me more. So if you're tuning in today, today's all about self-expression. I want to start by, I hope you had a great time in New Zealand. I had a phenomenal time. Thanks, Brooklyn. I really appreciate you saying that. It was amazing. New Zealand is beautiful. Have you ever been? I was only there for a few days, so I spoke at the Harcourts conference, 70 property managers and then 800 leaders and salespeople, which is my biggest speaking gig ever. And it's really the inspiration behind the content for today, which is, you know, are you afraid to speak in public, whether it's a table of 10 in the kitchen or, you know, a room full of hundreds? And, you know, does it elicit a lot of fear for you? And would you love to be really free and self-expressed in this area? So you let me know if that speaks to you. I want to ask you a question first. If you're watching this, let me know. Are you afraid of speaking in public? Yes or no? Just type it in. First thing I want to know. Are you afraid of speaking in public? Who have we got here? Hey, Ben, great to have you here, champ. Thanks for tuning in. Are you afraid to speak in public? Type in yes or no. No, James isn't. No. Hey, James, how's your speaking stuff going? Are you doing some, my friend? So, you know, as a kid, I really lacked a lot of confidence and I didn't really speak. I was bullied a lot through primary school and high school. And then I found a voice standing up to a bully when I started work. Terry's here. No, Terry's not afraid either. Brooklyn's not afraid either. We've got fearless people tuning in. That's unreal. Well, you know, most people, like me, certainly when I was younger, I was afraid of speaking in public. And, you know, speaking is actually ranked the #1 feared thing on the planet, meaning people would rather be public speaking is 1 and death is 2. Going slowly. Oh, well, you know, my friend, slowly, as long as you're going, you know, slow and steady is good. G'day, Erin. Thanks for jumping in. Terry, why are you not afraid to speak in public? That's what I want to know. What's your secret recipe? Because today's intention is just to really share some content around what are the 8 fears that really hinder us being self-expressed in the world, especially in front of others, and what are 8 simple strategies to feel more fearless, like a lot of the people that are tuning in today. Sorry, I'm just going to close emails again because they just reopened. So I'm going to share 8 reasons why we are afraid to speak in public and 8 simple ways that you can bust through your fear and feel you know, free and comfortable speaking with others. Sam's here. Paula's here. How fabulous. Okay, good. So I'm asking the question, are you afraid to speak in public? Yes or no? Terry, tell me why you're not afraid. Why are you comfortable speaking in public? So as a kid, I was kind of bullied a lot and really didn't have a lot of confidence. I know, hard to believe now. And then as I grew older, I started to stand up to bullies and find my voice. And you know, speaking is something I'm very passionate about because I absolutely love communication and working with people to transform their limiting beliefs that get in the way of them really fulfilling their human potential. Mark's here. G'day, Mark. Good morning to you too. I get nervous, but I'm not frightened. Awesome. Terry, tell me, how do you control the nerves? What do you do to just acknowledge the nerves? Morning, Paula. Great to have you here. All right, let's begin by unpacking really the 8 things. Now, there's many things, but these are the predominant 8 things that get in the way of us being comfortable speaking in public. And as I run through them, I invite you to listen for which one is really getting in the way for you, which one, if you had a breakthrough and would really make a difference. Have a guess what the first one is. Typically, everyone guesses this. we're afraid to be judged. That's really it. When we stand, like I'm on a video now, you guys are going to be judging me anyway, because that's just what we do as human beings. But we're scared to stand up and speak out because we are afraid of being judged by others. One of the fundamental human needs is connection. So anything that's going to threaten connection, anything that's going to have us, hey Joanne, great to have you here. I miss you. I want to hear how you're going. Anything that's going to put connection at risk, we don't want to risk it. So speaking in public, especially in a really big forum, like I just spoke in front of 800 people, who were super generous, by the way, it's an intimidating thing. So number one, we're afraid to be judged. We all are. So that's just the biggest thing that gets in the way. Number two, we feel threatened. So when we're feeling judged, we feel threatened. And when we feel threatened, it really activates a certain level of physiology in us, which is our fight, flight, or flee. And our whole nervous system, our whole physiology feels like we are running from a saber-toothed tiger. Hi, Irene. Great to have you here. We are talking about, how do you feel about speaking in public? Is it scary for you? Would you love a breakthrough? Are you unstoppable? Are you like Terry, you feel a bit nervous but you do it anyway because you're not frightened? Helen, oh, lots of love from Helen. There you go. You've got heaps of love going on, honey. G'day, Hal or Hallie. So when we feel threatened, so the first thing is we're afraid to be judged. The second thing, we feel threatened. When we're threatened, our whole physiology changes. We're in fight, flight, or flee. All of our blood flow goes from our brain and our vital organs to our adrenal glands, and we want to run because we feel like we're in caveman times and there's a saber-toothed tiger after us. Hey, Hallie. So the physiology, this is where we sweat, we get nervous, the dry mouth, we clam up, we're scared of a pending threat. Does that make sense? It really is the fear of fear, and a lot of it's not real. It's all what's going on in our head. The third reason why we're afraid to speak in public is our thoughts and beliefs about ourselves as a speaker. Now, I'm not a professional speaker. I've never been trained as a speaker. There are phenomenally professionally trained speakers out there that have invested thousands of dollars learning the art of effective speaking, and that could be anything from where you place yourself on stage, your articulation, your enunciation, your voice projection, your body language, because communication is 7% words, 38% tonality, and 55% physiology. So, you don't believe the message unless you believe the messenger, and consider that your body communicates a lot more than your words are. So if I was speaking to you and I'm talking about peak performance and that I can help you produce breakthrough results in your business and your life like that, I'm just not believable, right? And if I was really over animated and being really inauthentic, that wouldn't be believable either, because it's inauthentic. For me, the greatest speakers are the ones that are real and speak from the heart, and they're not typically thinking about where they're standing on stage, but as I'm going to cover, really fulfilling an intention to be of service. Rick Rushton, so amazing. Hey, speaking of a great speaker, there's one that's fantastic. By the way, if you haven't seen Rick's TED Talk, The Power of Connection, please jump on his website and you'll see it there, or you can go onto his Instagram page. You click on the link in his bio and you will be able to quickly click the TED Talk link, and it's just a great conversation about how do you connect with people that you dig, and more importantly, how do we connect with people that we don't have a resonance with, because that's where growth really occurs. So hey, great to have you tuning in. Narita, hey Narita, good morning to you, my love. I hope you're well. Bianca Davis is on Instagram. Happy Monday to you. So the third thing that gets in the way of us being an effective communicator is our thoughts and beliefs about ourselves as a speaker. If you're telling yourself, I'm a crap speaker, I'm not a good speaker, and you compare yourself to others, then definition is decisive. Your belief of yourself will determine your relationship with your word and your presence. And so if you don't believe you're a good speaker, you won't put your hand up to speak. You won't accept opportunities, and you could be really limiting your potential, because you have a lot of wisdom and experience and knowledge and magic inside of you, and you have a lot that you could share and gift and teach others. And really, our fear of being judged, our feeling under fear and threat, our thoughts and beliefs about ourselves get in the way of us really contributing to one another. So that's the third thing. The fourth thing is pretty realistic. It's just a lack of confidence. And as a peak performance coach, I hear a lot from clients. Tanja, I'm not comfortable to do that. I'm not confident to do that. I'm not confident to get up on stage and speak. I'm not confident to get a video and stand outside of a house on a Thursday night to showcase a listing that we have an open for inspection for on Saturday. Of course you're not confident. You've never done it before. There are 5 steps to confidence. Stop putting pressure on yourself to land on planet confidence when you haven't walked through the steps of competence first. And here's the thing, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, with speaking, the only way through is through. You can practice in the mirror as much as you like, but until you get in a room full of 10 or hundreds of or thousands of people, you'll never know what that experience is like. And trust me, I've been there. I have done the worst thing on the planet other than my clothes falling off and being naked in front of a stage. I stuffed up within 30 seconds of speaking, actually emceeing. I was accountable for holding the energy and effectively introducing all the speakers, and within 30 seconds, I completely stuffed up. I stuffed up. I had to develop competency in front of others. And so the worst thing that could have happened, happened. And not only did I stuff up badly, and there's a whole podcast on this if you go to my website or Spotify or YouTunes, that's a new thing, iTunes. And this is the other thing. See, I'm not worried about trying to be polished and perfect right now. I just want to contribute to you. One of the reasons we stuff up is because we want to be polished and perfect, because we think, many of us think, if we're polished and perfect, it's more acceptable. We're more professional. We're more like, you know what? People don't want polished and perfect. They certainly don't want polished and perfect if there's not an authentic message coming across. So polished and perfect is great as long as you're still real and raw, as long as you're still authentically adding value to people. Does that make sense? By the way, if you're tuning in live, type in live. And if you're watching the record, type in record so I know when this message is getting to you. Rick's written, hey, Jackie, great to have you tuning in. Thank you, my love. Is this making sense, by the way, so far? So we're halfway through the 8 things that get in the way of effectively speaking. And then I'm going to share just 8 really simple strategies that will give you access to be a little more fearless. Rick's written, all action is belief driven. Yes, such a great content this morning. Tanj, thanks for setting my week off with momentum. You're very welcome, Rick. Also, if you haven't checked out Voices of Value, Rick's got an amazing podcast with Peter Kakos where they interview people inside the real estate industry and outside who are just really, specialists in their area, and they unpack how do they have a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual state of excellence that helps them produce great results. So check out that as well. Okay. As I said, definition is decisive. That's number 4. So that's number 4. Number 5 is confidence. The only way through is through. So you can get some training or a coach or do some courses, and don't put pressure on yourself to be confident at something you haven't developed the competencies in. So I've got a podcast around the 5 steps to confidence. Just head to my website and you'll find that. The 5th reason why we will avoid speaking in public is if we know there's an evaluation process. We'll go through what's called evaluation avoidance. If there is a feedback form and we're going to get feedback on our speaking or be compared to others, some of us will avoid that. And these are the people that have a closed mindset. I believe, as the saying goes, the mind is like a parachute. It really does work best when it's open. And if you can be open to feedback, open to constructive criticism of how you can shift the dial of being more effective in any area of your life, whether it's speaking or something else, that is a really worthwhile thing. So those that have a growth mindset, if you understand the growth and a fixed mindset, it's the great work of Dr. Carol Dweck. She's really unpacked this philosophy, and it just makes so much sense. You could literally Google Carol Dweck growth and fixed mindset after this and see diagrams that'll just teach you something instantly around that. But we're scared of feedback, honestly. I actually love feedback. I know Rick's the same. I love to get, there's lots of comments here. I need to start reading these. I love getting feedback. Sometimes it's uncomfortable, but my commitment is to serve and grow. So I'm open to transforming. Narita, I love it. Competence leads to confidence. Isn't that it's just a simple thing. You will never get to confidence or mastery unless you develop the competencies, and you've got to take the steps. Narita, check out the 5 Steps to Confidence podcast. I think you'll enjoy that. Stephen Bailey, live. Mark's live. Awesome. Hey Lou, great to have you here as well. Thanks for writing in your comments. All right, number 6 is sharing ideas. So typically when we're speaking, we're sharing ideas. And if these ideas are new, or they're fragile, or they haven't truly been fleshed out or explored a lot, you won't necessarily be fully embodied in the ideas, and you'll be in a vulnerable place. And, TED Talk's an amazing space for that, because it is a platform just of sharing really great ideas. And it takes a level of vulnerability and courage to share your ideas. And that's why TED Talk is so popular, because it's not just for people that are also good speakers. It's someone that's got an idea, worth spreading. So if you haven't checked out any TED Talks, have a look. Their criteria is not death by PowerPoint, but what's an idea that's worth spreading, that we can help elevate the experience of being human and be more effective in our time here and more fulfilled. So we'll be fearful of sharing our ideas if they're new or they're not proven, because we are often afraid of people's opinions of our thoughts and ideas. So this is where it's all about owning your experience. Perception is reality. So your perception is reality. My perception is reality. And if you have an open mind, like Dr. Carol Dweck invites us to do, you'll be more open to growing and learning, and sharing ideas is a great way to do it. But if you're not confident in your own ideas, you won't say yes to sharing them in public. So that's the 6th reason why we won't do it. 7 is a lack of familiarity. So you might be more comfortable speaking with an audience or a room full of people and, say, for example, if I was speaking to a real estate audience for the last 4 years, I've kind of been studying the industry. I've done some specific research. I feel like I've got some stats. I feel like I've cut my teeth. I've chopped a bit of wood and carried a bit of water. So I feel like I deserve the privilege of the platform because I can add value. Now, if I go to speak to a different group of people, I feel comfortable migrating the message, but others may not. If you're speaking to a completely different audience, that lack of familiarity could elicit some fear because you don't have a full experience of their reality. So that's all about context and definition as well. Definition is decisive. If you're comfortable speaking with these people, you have a positive definition. If you're not as comfortable speaking with people you lack familiarity with, you've probably got a disempowered definition. Yes, they're different people. Yes, they have a different, industry they work in or different experience, but they're still human, right? Their blood is still the same color as yours and mine. And you can migrate a message across as long as it's going to be adding value to them. Finally, 8, and as I said, there's a lot more, but this is like a top 8 that I find can really get in the way for people, is a lack of skill. There are, even though I'm not, I love watching you speak. I'm going to be watching and taking notes. I'm keen to see where you anchor yourself and you place yourself. There are a few things I do. If I'm speaking in past tense, I'll stand in one part of the stage, and I'm speaking in future tense, I'll stand in another part of the stage, and I make sure I'm really consistent where I'm speaking from. But I promise you, I am never strategically choreographing where I'm standing for every word, and because that's to me is inauthentic. I trust my message, so I trust that where I'm standing is perfect. And you've got to be able to tune in to your audience. And Rick's got some great content in his book, The Power of Connection, about tuning in before you broadcast. Know your audience. So a lack of skill will really get in the way of us feeling confident in our ability to speak in public. So did you hear something for yourself? Are you afraid of being judged? Do you feel under threat, and then your whole physiology is changing to run from the saber-toothed tiger, so it's fear of fear alone? Are your thoughts and beliefs disempowered about who you are as a speaker, and are you comparing yourself to others? Trust me, if I compared myself to others, I'd never get on stage. Do you lack confidence in your ability, and you're putting pressure on yourself to be masterful before you've developed the competencies? And trust me, the only way through is through. You have to make mistakes, but you can rise resilient in a world of failure. Just never collapse failure with I'm a failure. Just always ask yourself, what's the lesson? What did I learn? And that's where we truly grow. Are you avoiding evaluation if you know that there's feedback forms? Because that'll make you definitely not put your hand up. Are you scared to share your new ideas because they're not tested and proven and have statistical data? And are you feeling vulnerable in that area for yourself? Are you concerned about a lack of familiarity with your audience, and therefore you don't feel as comfortable talking with people that you don't know? And is it just simply a lack of skill? Any of those can be resolved. So I'm keen to hear from you. Hey, Brendan, great to have you tuning in here on Instagram. I can't wait to catch up with you this week, hear what magic you're up to. So here are a couple of quick tips that I've got to enable you to feel the fear and start to become more fearless inside of practicing these. So number one, park your funk. So the first thing that I do is I really just still my mind, because we have 60 to 90,000 thoughts a day. 90% of them are regurgitated thoughts from the day before, and 85% of them are negative. And our subconscious mind is always busy being busy in the background, unpacking and trying to resolve what we're thinking, how we feel, and how our physiology is. So a great way to park the funk, and there it is here, definitely pressure on myself. Yeah, release the pressure, Nerida. You would definitely have some amazing content you can share. I know you know that. Actually, what I think I should have said, here's my biggest belief around why we get stuck in being an effective communicator to others, because our focus is on ourselves. When we're standing there in front of others, if my focus is on how do I look, how do I sound, do they like me, is this going to be good, do they trust me, do they think I'm inspiring, or like, where is my focus? It's all on me. And when our focus is on ourselves, we get self-conscious, and that's why we feel uncomfortable. When you are courageous and vulnerable enough to stand there, but you have 100% focus on your audience, on those human beings, that you've got a moment to connect with them and share a message, your energy shifts over there to them, and trust me, they'll feel it. They will feel it, rather than you up there trying to be all cool, right? Does that make sense? Let me know. So park the funk. Before any stressful situation, speaking in the kitchen of 10 or a room full of hundreds or thousands, do this. Sit in a quiet place and just sit there and ask yourself, what am I thinking? Unpack all your thoughts. Just dump them. Park the funk. Just dump everything you're thinking about everything, whether it's the speaking, the washing, the emails, the texts, the kids fighting, the whatever it is. Just unpack it. Then ask yourself, how do I feel? And this is kind of like you're just going behind the scenes, you're playing hide and seek with your subconscious mind, and you're acknowledging what's there, and you go, I feel nervous, I feel insecure, I feel excited, I feel unprepared, I feel apprehensive. You just unpack all the feelings. This is a super, super powerful exercise, because you'll notice that your physiology will go, because you're seeing yourself and what's going on there. And then the third step is you ask, how's my body? And this is when you're bringing attention to, how do you feel physically? Are you tense, tight, sore, uncomfortable anywhere? And you just bring your attention to it and you release it. So what am I thinking? How do I feel? How's my body? Step one. Step two of Park the Funk is, here's what I do. I set an intention. I choose to be of service. I'm choosing to be of service to the people in the room. My second intention is I choose to receive. So whilst I'm delivering content, specific messages, and I have an agenda, I also choose to receive insights and energy from the room to intuitively impact them. This is about reading the room. Nerid is saying spot on. Thanks. I'm really glad you're getting some good stuff for yourself. So I choose to receive. I choose to be open to my intuition guiding me to just deliver some magic that's not in my prep notes. And the third piece, which will really put the ego at bay, is I say to myself, I choose to let go of the need to know how this is going to go and the need to get it right. Because our egos are addicted to knowing how it's going to go and getting it right. And when we're in that space, we're very insular. So when we release ourselves and go, I choose to let go of the need to know and the need to get it right, and I'm going to be over there and add value, people will feel you more with them. Does that make sense? Let me know. By the way, I'd love to know where you're tuning in from. So just type in the suburb or the city where you're from so I can get a sense of where you're coming from. So number one, how to bust through the fear and be more familiar and comfortable with speaking with people. Park the funk. I've just unpacked that process. And there's a lot of gigs happening in real estate, especially, don't be afraid to put in your bio for the MC to say that you're not a professional speaker, that you're a professional that's just willing to stand up and share stuff that you do that really works. And if it is your very first speaking time, put that in the bio as well. So what happens is we get kind of performance anxiety. So if the MC says, hey, this is Tanja, she's a peak performance coach, Yadi, she's not a professional speaker. It's not in my bio, by the way, but this is what you could do for yours. She's not a professional speaker, and this is actually her first speaking gig, so please make her welcome. What happens is automatically you have a very different frequency shift in the room because you don't have this preconceived perception from the audience that you are a professional speaker and that you've got to live up to that belief. They will automatically shift their energy to be compassionate to you, and you'll feel it if you're open to it. So that's a really great tip. Be real in your bio, right? Don't put pressure on yourself to be super profesh. Hey, Marie, great to have you here. Mount Waverley. Oh, awesome, Nerida. Thank you. So be straight in your bio. Let them know if you're a professional speaker or not, and if it's your first gig. That kind of lays down the game plan. Number three, really create a positive and empowering definition of yourself. So take your focus off yourself and really create an empowering definition of you. You just really choose to be of service. You're going to give them something that's going to really give them access to improve their business or life, connection, communication, anything at all. So it's important that you positively define yourself. So if you're not a professional speaker, you can say, I'm a humble human with a great message, and I'm just going to deliver it with love today, or something. Define yourself in a positive and empowered context and stand in that place. 4, be intentional, as I was saying before. Be intentional about fulfilling on the message. I'm just going to shift a little bit and be over there with others. Shift your focus from yourself and be of service to fulfill your message. Even if you stuff up a word here or there or something happens with the sound, I promise you, people will feel where you're coming from. They want real and raw. They don't want perfect. So be intentional and choose to be of service. Number 5, prepare. There's something really beautiful about prepare. And someone that I know does that incredibly is Steve Carroll from realestate.com.au. He's a preparation king. He does a lot of training and speaking. Whenever I've had him speak at events, people really love his presentation because it's high energy and it's supported by fantastic video content, which is always great because people will receive information orally, from auditory or visual or kinesthetic. And there's a number of other things, but typically they're either visual people or they're hearing people or they're feeling people. So as a speaker, you want to make sure that you've got all 3 covered, and if you want to get a bit more technical, you can make sure you've got right brain and left brain content. Left brainers like stats and information and data. Right brain, just want to hear a story. Just tell me a story. So when you can combine the 3 systems of visual, auditory, and kinesthetic going on, you're able to weave greater connection. But I don't want to get too technical. Maybe if this is of interest to you, I can do something more detailed down the track. let me know. Just type in the comments. Yes. Hey, oh, great, Tassie. G'day, Mark. Great to have you here. Little Hampton, Adelaide. Thanks, Stephen. Much love to you. Number 6 is strong imagery. So that's a beautiful segue. As I was saying, please do not do death by PowerPoint. One way to send your audience to sleep is if you have PowerPoint with dots and words. Brené Brown's brilliant at this. Dr. Brené Brown, she just has an incredible visual and maybe one sentence or 3 words. Steve Carroll's great at this as well. So less slides and content, and just rip a message and then prepare so you can speak to that. You're not standing there delivering the content off the screen. What's on the screen is there to serve as amplification of what you're delivering. Okay, so really important. And make sure the imagery is current, otherwise it can look super dated. And number 7, hey, put yourself out there. Seek opportunities to practice. Don't be afraid to practice to your family. I still practice, in a room just to make sure that I'm embodied in my message. I never rehearse to try and get it perfect. I just want to embody the message, because I'm likely to change it along the way, but you'll have key anchor points throughout the process. And so seek opportunities to speak, because the only way through is through. You've got to build the competency before you're confident. And finally, ask for help. Ask someone that you admire that's a great speaker and say, hey, can you give me some tips? What are some things? Or if you see me speak, what did I do well? What do I need to work on? What do you want more of? What do you want less of? And be open to the feedback, because, growing is a beautiful thing. We do know that the key to happiness is progress. And I believe that you have a lot of wonderful content that you can really share with people, whether it's, sitting doing a listing consultation or doing a training session for your people in your business, or whether it is speaking on stage. So I hope you found that useful. We've unpacked 8 things that get in the way and make us fearful of standing and speaking to others, and 8 simple strategies that you can apply to feel less fearful and more comfortable, but really we got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. So did you find that useful? Which one is the one that you're going to practice? If you do want to ask me anything privately about speaking and how I'm comfortable on stage, and I'm still a massive work in progress. I'm going to actually really focus on increasing my keynote speaking skills, because I'm very facilitator, workshop orientated, and I want to do more keynote stuff. I usually talk for hours and days rather than, 20 minutes or 45. So I need to develop greater skills in that area. But yeah, if I can add value in any way, reach out, ask me any questions. But I hope you found that useful. Let me know with a thumbs up or a smiley face if you did. And I'll look forward to seeing you for Rapid Fire Friday, which is where I reflect on all the key themes, lessons, and blessings from my one-on-one coaching for the week. And I just do a rapid fire share of what were they and what are some tips that can help you rise resilient in a world of rejection, upset, and change, and really empower you to be fulfilled in your life personally and professionally. So if you have a question, if you need something supported, for yourself, then just kind of connect, DM me, email me, reach out to me. I'm here for you. And finally, in the words of Maya Angelou, remember that people will forget what you said, even on stage. People will forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. Go make yourself and others feel great today, especially the people that often go unseen. The cleaners in the court, the food courts, the people on the tarmac, just the people that make your life a little better. Make them feel special. I hope you have a beautiful day. Reduce PowerPoint usage. Yes, definitely do that. Great way to start the week. You're very welcome. Much love. Have a beautiful day, an amazing week, and look forward to seeing you for Rapid Fire Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time this Friday. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Much love. I will speak to you soon. Reach out to me if I can be of service. And ciao to you, our friends on Facebook.